Hello, thank you for tuning in after my last beginner's guide. On this channel, formerly Mike Funny Boy, now it's Smiles. I have less than 2 hours from the point I am filming this to make this video, so let's dive right in. Beginning in 2022, Forbidden Door is a yearly crossover event hosted by AEW in collaboration with its promotional partners, CMLL, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Stardom. Please ignore the state of my nails, I jumped in the shower too quickly. Anyway, if you're unfamiliar, CMLL is a lucha promotion down in Mexico and is the oldest active wrestling promotion in the world today. NJPW is to pro wrestling what Prestige TV is to television, a mind-blowing critical darling in the 2010s that has somewhat petered out today, even if its quality is going way back up. And Stardom is women's wrestling in Japan, also pretty highly regarded. Initially a major crossover event, Forbidden Door has, unfortunately in recent years, become more of a B show for AEW with occasional guest stars. A lot of that comes down to AEW signing a lot of the cross-promotional stars who would have been on the shows in past years. That can be seen with the match we're opening this guide with, the Dogs versus Cage and Cope for the AEW Men's World Tag Team Championships. Cage and Cope are obviously coming off of their major feel-good title win at Double or Nothing, while the Dogs are somewhat recent signings, formerly signed in New Japan known as the War Dogs, an affiliate of Bullet Club. Clark Connors and David Finlay, the son of Fit Finlay, signed with AEW last year. Since then, they have been wreaking havoc on the AEW tag team division with specifically dog-based methods, humping and pissing, I think, and whatnot. At any rate, this match is only a crossover in spirit only, as it does feature all AEW contracted talent, even if some of that talent used to be in New Japan. So it's kind of like spiritually a crossover type match, but really it isn't. Will Cage and Cope come out successful in their first pay-per-view title defense of their reign, or will the Dogs pull off the upset? I don't really know. Speaking of the men's tag team titles, this next match has major implications for that division. The Young Bucks versus Sky Team versus Unbound Company. Not gonna go super in depth on this one, even if it is one of the matches that actually features our guest stars. Sky Team are representing CMLL. They consist of Mystico, the face of CMLL and one of the biggest drawing wrestlers in the world today, and Mascara Dorada, a highly promising young luchador. Unbound Company is basically a stable of leftover pieces from the disbanded Los Ingobernables de Japón and Bullet Club. Yeah, Bullet Club's like officially ended and has been for a minute. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if AEW knows that. And the Young Bucks, of course, are the Young Bucks. Even if you're a casual, if you're here, you probably know who they are. This match is seemingly one that came together by someone saying, hey, you know, it'd be pretty cool, and then they just threw these names out there. If there are any major ramifications of this match, it's probably that a win for the Young Bucks will secure them a shot at the World Tag Team Championships at some point in the near future, either at Redemption or at All In. Also, it is my understanding that Sky Team recently won CMLL's Tag Team Championships. I don't think those are factoring into this at all, but if they do, there you go. From one elite match to another, Kenny Omega versus Zack Sabre Jr. is another of the major cross-promotional matches, and another match that probably kinda came together by someone saying, hey, you know it'd be cool? Zack Sabre Jr. is currently signed with New Japan, one of New Japan's few Gaijin stars, and really few of its top stars, who hasn't left the company in recent years. For his part, he is probably the most prolific and acclaimed active technical wrestler in the world today. AEW only viewers will know him for his Forbidden Door match against Bryan Danielson a year or so back. Now he faces Kenny Omega in what is almost certainly a perfunctory hurdle in Kenny's chase for the World Championship, which will probably come to a head at AEW's next event, Redemption, in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Is it in Montreal? I haven't actually checked. It's in Canada. That's all I know. Will Kenny win and secure his path further to the World Championship? I mean, probably. It would be kind of weird if he didn't, but who knows. Here's a match with some lore worth explaining. Shota Umino versus Pac for Shota's IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Pac, as we all know, is a member of the Death Riders, and Shota Umino has ties to the stable even if they've never really been made direct. A few years back, during Jon Moxley's run as IWGP US Champion, he took then young boy Shota Umino under his wing. For his part, Umino is something of a chosen golden boy boy for New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of many talents earmarked as one of the possible future faces of the promotion as they look to fill that void after multiple major talent losses, basically. Umino was named as one of the Reiwa Musketeers, basically 3 hand-picked talents said to be the future of the promotion, also consisting of Yota Tsuji, current IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and Ren Narita, current holder of like a bowl cut kind of thing going on. Umino, at least in my experience, has proven to be a somewhat divisive member of this generation. Some people think he has the stuff, some people kind of don't. I think a lot of that can be chalked up to what was put on his shoulders when he was first initially pushed. He was kind of presented as this cross between Hiroshi Tanahashi and Jon Moxley, this very straightforward and passionate babyface who also had a violent mean streak within him. Or at least like this kind of rebellious streak. I don't know, he had like a leather jacket, and that's enough, I guess. But to be fair, I haven't seen much of Umino since then, and I have seen a lot of people buzzing about his recent performances. I will say I've never considered him the strongest of the young generation. I'm a big Yuya Uemura person, but this will prove to be a major test for the young Umino as an international star, defending his global heavyweight championship, which is essentially New Japan's secondary main event title. The upper mid-card belt, intercontinental title, international title type vibes. Will Umino impress, or will Pac stop Jon Moxley's lost son? Time will tell. Speaking of the Death Riders, Jon Moxley will face Bandido for Moxley's Continental Championship. Basically, they met in a tag match where Bandido pinned, I'm pretty sure, Daniel Garcia, to which Moxley said, "Hey, you seem like the kind of guy who can take a strap. Why don't you try taking my big ol' strap in front of the whole world?" And now that is what they're doing. And that's basically it. Next, Tecla versus Starlight Kid for the AEW Women's World Championship. Starlight Kid is here representing Stardom, Tecla's former home promotion. Pretty famously, Tecla was fired from Stardom after physically attacking their president, Teru Okada. Since then, Tecla has become a star in her own right in the US and has not missed any opportunity to down-talk Stardom. Starlight Kid, for her part, is essentially here as an avatar of Stardom, but she does have some history worth noting with Tecla, specifically 2 one-on-one matches in their careers. Both matches were won by Starlight Kid. Can Tecla make good on her promise to spit on the grave of Stardom, or will Starlight Kid get the upset, keep the streak alive, and turn the AEW women's division on its head? Speaking of the women's division turned on its head, that state of affairs is readily shown off by the Owen Hart Women's Tournament Finals, Mercedes Moné versus Maya World. What is going on? Neither of these people were in the tournament a month ago. Mercedes Moné was a fill-in for the injured Willow Nightingale. She has returned to AEW after many months of absence. Last we saw her, she was carrying around 12 belts in tow as Ultimo Moné. Since then, she has gone on a losing spree, dropping pretty much all of those belts all around the world. The only belt she technically has left is the Owen Hart Foundation belt that she won in the tournament last year. As such, Moné is looking not only to go to All In to possibly capture the only belt that has eluded her, the AEW World Championship, but also to defend the final belt from her Ultimo Moné run. Maya World was a substitute for international sensation Sabre, who was also not cleared to compete in the tournament. Maya World has had a Cinderella story, a recent signing to the company. Originally featured as basically tag team fodder and an ROH regular, Maya World has had a Cinderella run in this tournament. In the semifinals of the tournament, she defeated her mentor and current ROH Forever Champion Athena, and now looks ahead to another idol of hers in Mercedes Moné. To make the story all the more poetic, Maya World recently tragically lost her brother, who introduced her to professional wrestling, who she will surely be fighting for tonight. Can Maya World complete the Cinderella story and defeat one of the biggest stars in professional wrestling today? Or will Mercedes Moné stave off the loss of her final belt and book a ticket to Wembley Stadium? Genuinely, I have no idea. It's a pretty unpredictable match. It would make sense for Moné to lose her final belt and kind of complete that entire arc, but on the other hand, Maya World would be such a big swing for this relative unknown, relative new star that I kind of have trouble seeing it happening. this match is definitely going to be one to watch. Another one to watch is, of course, the men's Owen Hart tournament finals, Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. Just a year ago at All In, Swerve and Ospreay were teaming against the Young Bucks. Now they find themselves at odds, trying to get into the main event of that very same event. Will Ospreay looks to complete his boyhood dream of competing at Wembley Stadium in the main event, whereas Swerve looks to complete his rise back to the top of the AEW World Title division. Ospreay has relied on the guidance and grit of the Death Riders, while Swerve has fallen back on old habits, basically maiming people and being generally antagonistic. Fun fact, this is not their first time facing off at Forbidden Door, as they have previously fought for Swerve's World Championship back when he was having his run. Will Ospreay even out that record and finish the pavement on his road to Wembley? Or will Swerve play the ultimate spoiler and book his shot for another AEW World Championship reign? This one is maybe less unpredictable than the last match, but genuinely there might be a solid argument to be made that Swerve could win here. It would certainly prove shocking at the very least. Finally, I'm not sure if this is going to be main event, but this is like the biggest and most complex match on the card, so I saved it for last. The big cage match, Fustercluck of DC MJF, the Don Callis family with MJF, facing the conglomeration, Mark Briscoe's team of babyface Avengers. Last year, Mark Briscoe got a major win over MJF in a tables and tacks match. This year, he wants to collect on that win and book himself an AEW World Championship shot, but first he has to go through all this rigmarole. If Team Briscoe wins this match, Mark Briscoe gets a future World Championship opportunity. What's important about this match isn't really the results, but the multiple dynamics at play. On the babyface side of things, you have Darby Allin looking to get revenge on Kevin Knight for his heelish antics at the end of Double or Nothing. Konosuke Takeshita looks for revenge against Kyle Fletcher for turning on him at Double or Nothing. And then you have Orange Cassidy and friends kind of just being there to support. But what's most interesting in this match is the internal team dynamics of the heel side of things. MJF is an enemy of basically everyone in the Don Callis family, which means he is basically an enemy of everyone on his team, because everyone in that stable wants the World Championship, especially Andrade, who has been very vocal about his displeasure with teaming with MJF. Then, of course, you have Kevin Knight, who wants his shot at MJF after multiple failed world title opportunities earlier this year. And then, of course, you have Okada and Fletcher seemingly united against Konosuke Takeshita, but also at the end of the day, going for the same belt that Takeshita has. All that is to say, expect sparks to fly among the heel team, and it probably won't end that well for MJF. Can the babyface Team Briscoe secure a title shot for their modestly toothed friend? Probably. Look at this heel team. They're in shambles. At any rate, it will be a match to watch, and this event will be one to watch, if not necessarily as crucial as your major shows like a Double or Nothing or an All In. Overall, if you're looking for just a handful of matches to keep an eye out on, I would absolutely recommend both finals of the Owen, as well as that tag team triple threat. That looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. At any rate, what do you think going into the show? What matches are you excited for? Did I get anything wrong or miss anything major? Please let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you especially to my supporters and YouTube members, and thank you double especially to my supporters but larger, TV Skyen, Stephen Gorman, Norman the Great Dane, and Jack Kruger. If you want your name shown on screen, you can join my YouTube members page for $2.99 a month. That'll get your name on screen and access to member exclusive bonus videos. For $5.99, you get all that plus one of those spoken shoutouts that I just gave. Thank you again for watching. Please excuse the slapdash nature of this video. This event kind of snuck up on me, but I do want to keep this kind of video a tradition. With that said, I played myself because in about an hour and a half, I am going to be do a secret side quest, which may play into a video in the near future. Who knows? Time will tell. At any rate, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.